Dozens of people were injured on a flight from Australia to New Zealand due to a technical issue on a Boeing 787. It was followed by the news that a former Boeing employee who blew the whistle on alleged safety problems has been found dead. Officials say 62-year-old John Barnett died Saturday from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Barnett recently testified against Boeing in a whistleblower lawsuit. He worked at Boeing for over 3 decades. Boeing expressed its condolences.
Have you been following this? You know, last night, the Boeing Whistleblower. And here's what I want to get into today. First off, I want to clarify as to why you have these kinds of quality control problems with companies like Boeing, you know, giant aerospace companies or military companies, and why they never improve. And that can only exist under the umbrella of suppressive government, to be clear. You have a government who picks winners and losers. There have been little to no serious innovations in aviation, commercial aviation, really in the last 50 years compared to think of how much better your cars have gotten compared to the planes that we're still using commercially. There's a reason for that. And that's because the government basically steps in. And of course, they get to pick winners and losers. There are a handful of companies on Earth who get to build your planes and their engines. That's it. No one else has the ability to get past that barrier to entry. And when that happens, guess what? People get complacent. So we'll talk about that along with a lot of other whistleblowers who you may have forgotten who were also suicided, murdered. So last night, the Boeing whistleblower, John Barnett is his name, died of, very suddenly, I should tell you, self-inflicted gunshot wound, self-inflicted.
Dozens of people were injured on a flight from Australia to New Zealand due to a technical issue on a Boeing 787. It was followed by the news that a former Boeing employee who blew the whistle on alleged safety problems has been found dead. Officials say 62-year-old John Barnett died Saturday from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Barnett recently testified against Boeing in a whistleblower lawsuit. He worked at Boeing for over 3 decades. Boeing expressed its condolences.
Sure they did.
Local news is so silly.
It is.
She reads that like she's surprised. Was found dead. Huh?
What? A whistleblower?
Me?
It's like every sentence.
Did you not read the copy before you went on air?
This is crazy. Dead.
Or you did and you're acting.
Poorly.
Definitely didn't read it.
Was found, but what? Dead? The golden era of news. All right. Anyway, so who was this Barnett character? Well, he was a former Boeing quality manager. That's important. And he was killed in Charleston, where he was giving interviews for this ongoing case against Boeing.
Yeah.
The timing, some people would say, is coincidental. I would say murder, but that's just an opinion. It's just an opinion.
Allegedly
Allegedly
he was murdered.
Yeah, allegedly.
While giving damning testimony.
While giving damning testimony.
Or, I shouldn't say testimony. It wasn't a court of law. Interviews.
Interviews.
That would later be turned into testimony.
On very important, powerful people.
Killed himself in his sleep.
Also, he followed ZZ Top's world tour.
Oh,
so
looked like it.
Let me give you some timeline information here. In 2019, Barnett raised some alarms, right? Sounded the alarms about quality control issues on the 787, including faulty parts from scrap bins fitted onto the plane. By the way, all references are available. Link in the description every day. 25% of oxygen masks being faulty. Clusters of metal shavings hanging around flight control wiring. Now, here's the thing.
Well, that's good.
25% of oxygen masks faulty. That means that a quarter of those people are dead.
That's a big number.
That's a big number.
Well, but look, hold on. Let's look at the glass half full, like 75%.
No, you got to look at the glass a quarter full.
Yes.
No, it's 75%.
He's looking at it three-quarters full.
Three-quarters full.
I'm looking at it a quarter dead.
They're getting better.
Yes.
Because an oxygen mask, as you go nose first into a mountain, is important.
Well, it makes you euphoric and complacent.
It does. Yes. I watch Fight Club too.
Some people.
How does that work? If only 3/4 of the masks work, then are you still supposed to put yours on first before helping?
Oh, I'm putting mine on first. I don't care who's next to me. I'm putting mine on first to make sure if it doesn't work, I'm taking my
then
kid.
Steal a kid. Yeah, steal a. Good job, kid. Yeah.
I have to put mine on first so I can save you. Nope. Well, let's not. Just go to sleep. Try kicking out that window. See what happens. Now, you're afraid you're going to get sucked out.
I'm not afraid of getting sucked out.
You're afraid you're going to get sucked out. Name that movie line.
I've been sucked out time or two.
Hey,
wow, jeez.
Tell you, Barnett had the life sucked out of him. Let's get back to what's most important here. So, Barnett. So think of these quality control problems. And you say, how does that happen? That's the important overarching point. It only happens under the all-watchful eye of government. What's the solution? More government oversight. If government oversight made you safer, this wouldn't be happening. Let's be clear. So he said that his concerns were stonewalled, right, by managers, and that he never actually trusted the final product. This is the guy who was a quality control expert.
Not the guy you want. He's the last line of defense.
He said, as a quality manager at Boeing, you're the last line of defense before a defect makes it out to the flying public. No, you see, unlike local news, you did your job.
Yeah.
He's the last line of defense.
He's the last line of defense to the flying public.
Even he said so.
And he said, and I haven't seen a plane out of Charleston yet that I'd put my name on saying it's safe and airworthy.
Well, that's concerning.
Not one plane. And his job is really to say, yeah, that plane's good. He couldn't say it once.
They were like, we didn't pay you to tell the truth.
No.
That's going to fly and land.
So then in January of 2024, Barnett spoke to TMZ after, you guys remember this, a door blew out of a 737.
My concern is what's the rest of the airplane? What's the rest of the condition of the airplane? And the reason my concern for that is back in 2012, Boeing started removing inspection operations off their jobs. So it left the mechanics to buy off their own work. So what we're seeing with the door plug blowout is what I've seen with the rest of the airplane as far as jobs not being completed properly, inspection steps being removed, issues being ignored. My concerns are with the 737 and the 787 because those programs have really embraced the theory that quality is overhead and non-value added.
Well, see, that last part is concerning.
Mm-hmm.
All of it is concerning. Also, the 737 and 787 would pretty much make up all of the other planes.
I know. They're not making any new 47s, I don't believe.
It's safe. You're not going to get listeria if you go to McDonald's unless you eat the burger, the Big Mac, filet of fish, anything chicken-related.
Nuggets.
If there's lettuce.
Fries.
Don't try it. No.
Don't try it.
Yeah.
Any beverage.
What about the milkshakes? Oh, God.
Oh, don't even get me started on
Their
it.
machine's broken.
The
so
McRib
don't
was
worry.
always broken. Check back
Even though Ray
tomorrow.
Kroc was a milk machine salesman, son of a bitch.
He had one job, Ray.
Yeah, manager of the McDonald's on the corner of Reed and Victoria. Never have that milkshake machine working. He used to say, milk machine, the milkshake machine. Poubelle, garbage. No, your poubelle, your garbage. All right.
It's big McDonald's.
Back to the, I go to Dairy Queen. They can take a Blizzard and turn it upside down.
You can't? Can you do that, McFlurry?
Don't do anything at Dairy Queen. You can have it. You can get a beef Blizzard if you like.
You can.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll blend it up for you.
Yep. They get sucked out the window. Now, here's the thing. I'm just going to give you a few examples of the quality control issues before I'll show you a montage so you can believe your lying eyes. Like in 2017, there was an FAA audit of Boeing. It showed that there were 53 non-conforming parts that were lost. March 11, 2024, during a 6-week review of the 737 MAX, Boeing failed 33 of 89 audits, which seems like a lot.
That's a hell of a lot. Sorry.
189 killed in the 737 MAX that crashed in Indonesia, 157 killed in 2019 when the 737 MAX crashed in Indonesia, then Ethiopia. And they recommended a halt to production before these crashes happened. So I just want, before we just go into, everyone's going to make this about corporations, man. Look, I don't care if you're big business, small business, if you're a corporation. There are plenty of corporations who do great jobs. There are plenty of mom and pop businesses, which are corporations who do great jobs. My problem is if you don't conduct business honestly, and if you use the government to force out competition, to stifle innovation, of which you are the primary beneficiary, and then you create crap at the taxpayer's dime. So let's look at a brief montage, in case you don't believe me, regarding some incredible mishaps from Boeing and their aircrafts.
Oh my God, it's on fire.
Looks cool though.
It's not supposed to do that.
It was just a piece of the plane.
For those listening on audio, this is all very worrisome.
50 injured passengers and crew members. At least one lying on the floor. Others with bleeding head injuries after being thrown to the ceiling.
So it's not all bad.
That's when they were like,
I like that new model. That's
Steven
pretty cool.
Seagal, you're a jerk. You're not making it past the opening scene.
Executive decision. They kill him in the first 5 minutes and still gave him billing. So everyone's like, what? Did they hire Steven Seagal just to kill him? Mm-hmm.
Well, no, they hired him and then found out he was a prick.
Yes.
And
Seems like a
they're
good
we're
idea.
killing him
He's
off.
like, you can't kill me by throwing me off a plane. Like, why not? No one would buy it.
You know, gravity affects us all, Steven.
No.
What, are you going to slap the ground as you hit it?
I am rubber.
Oh, you're not.
Are you going to finish it? Glue something.
That's what you'll...
So, let me give you some examples here that you may not be taking into consideration. It's easy to just say, oh, corporation. Over the past 30 years, there have been effectively zero innovations as it relates to commercial flying. Transatlantic flights actually take longer. Think about that for a second. Think about your phone. Imagine remember the first time you had an iPhone was probably in 2008, 2009. Think of how much better your phone has probably replaced your computer. Think about your car now. Think about the navigation systems. Think about the autopilots that you have, or whatever is the adaptive cruise control. Think about the airbags. Think about the sensors, the cameras. Think about anything that you do today. Think about your television. Think about your doctor's visits. How much more efficient, now we can argue whether this has actually improved our lives or simply made room for more white noise, but one place where this has not happened at all, planes, where you're flying in the sky, how does no innovation take place? Well, the regulations that exist in this industry, everything from travel speed, not updating air traffic controls. You look at this it stops new competitors from entering in. So to give you an idea, Boeing, Airbus, they supply 99% of the world's largest planes.
Yeah.
And of course, they have an unbelievably close relationship with regulators.
Yeah, there's nobody there to push them. There's nobody there to innovate and make them have to go, wait, we have to beat these guys.
Right. They have the 9th largest lobby in the United States. Boeing. It's $342 million.
Jeez.
So what happens is these people have a ton of money. They lobby. And of course, it's kind of one and the same because these companies have contracts with companies like American Airlines. And we did a whole segment on CEO pay with these airline companies where services that you had to pay more for, right? Checking bags. You had to pay a little bit more for them for a while. They were supposed to go away. Well, then they stay. While a CEO who's a glorified manager gets $130 million as a bonus. Well, you say, how can that happen considering that they were not profitable?
Right.
Well, he's actually paid, by the way, he's paid in stock options, which are artificially inflated. How? Because of never-ending bailouts from federal funds that you pay through your tax dollars, and they sign these giant contracts with Boeing. When you have two companies supplying 99% of an industry, and no one else can enter into that space, you end up with stagnation, you end up with no innovation, you end up with places like airlines, health insurance companies, and of course, higher education. You think that those companies are they're the wild west of a lack of regulatory affairs? It's really important to keep this in mind when you look at industries that you revile. Okay, do these industries suffer from overregulation, taxation, government meddling, or less? When you look at companies who seem to, for example, have a monopoly or a duopoly or tripopoly, let's look at, for example, cell phone carriers. Let's look at social media. Do they suffer from very little government intervention or a ton, where the government gets to pick winners and losers? When you have that, the government has an incentive to say, we'll overlook that. Why? Because you supply 99% of this industry, and you're one of the biggest lobbying groups in the United States. So it's really easy to just blame a selfish corporation. Selfish corporations cease to exist if not for government intervention. Why? Because there's a direct relationship with the consumer, and you no longer support them. This is not free enterprise. This is not capitalism.
Right, but especially with the last 4, 5, 6 years for these guys, if any other competition existed in the market in the United States, I understand Airbus exists, they're heavily subsidized in Europe, right? That's one of the reasons this is a big problem. If any competition exists, the second time the MAX goes down, you ground the entire fleet. The third time you have a problem with the MAX. The fourth time where a MAX almost went down, and thank God the pilots were on their game and were able to land the plane miraculously. People start going to a different airline. People start canceling orders en masse and saying, you know what, we're gonna actually go over here. To whoever doesn't fly the 737, we're flying them. I'm going to get that airline and get the loyalty rewards for them. Screw you, American, if you're going to fly 737s. I'm moving somewhere else. But when you don't have a choice, you can't do anything. It's like the phone companies, like with AT&T and Sprint. They don't really care if you're happy. They're going to get somebody else to come in when you leave. It doesn't matter. That's not the kind of system that you want, especially when their goal is to make sure that you don't die.
Right. And there was a big, remember the big merger? It was Sprint and Metro PCS, SoftBank, right? And that almost didn't happen because they were saying, well, this might actually eliminate competition, when at the time there was really only AT&T and Verizon.
Right.
And they said, no, we need to keep as many of these small carriers fractured as possible. And now the services have gotten a little bit better, as I understand it. Not necessarily. I feel like I'm always paying too much for my phone.
Yeah.
I feel like I see advertisements. I'm like, who's paying that? And then I call. They go, no, that rate's not for you. No, what? But it's like half my rate. They say, yeah, that's for other people.
Nah, we're going to raise your rate, actually.
What?
You're too loyal to get a good deal.
And I was with Sprint for like 5 years when they sucked. They were awful. But I kept my unlimited, and then I couldn't hold out. I was like, you know what? I can't do it. And I switch, and 6 months later, they merge with whatever it is, T-Mobile. And
That's why you weren't answering my calls.
Yes.
That makes sense.
I told you.
You're just ignoring me. But
Sprint.
Turns out, okay.
I'll top you. I had Nextel.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What happened to Boost?
They're still around, I think.
What are you talking about?
Boost Mobile's still
Are they
around.
amped mobile?
Yeah.
They're trying to catch up to Mint. What was that?
It wasn't nice.
We have a laugh track.
All right. So I'm going to get into a few other details here. Comment below or hit the like button if you don't buy that Barnett suicided, meaning you think he was murdered. So there's a long list of famous whistleblowers where at a certain point they want to gaslight you into thinking that you're a conspiracy theorist. Let me give you a few examples in case you forgot. Remember J. Clifford Baxter? This was the Enron executive who exposed the company's accounting, quote-unquote, issues.
Accounting.
Died of suicide, gun. Just suicide. I don't know. Then there was Seth Rich, remember? Rumored to have provided internal emails from the DNC to WikiLeaks. Died in this alleged botched robbery attempt.
Well, they didn't take anything.
They didn't take anything.
I mean, I think there was a wallet laying on the ground. Like, who does that?
Well, who carries cash anymore?
No, we don't want cards that we can use online.
Definitely not me. Don't approach me.
No. I think they just want that godlike thrill.
Yes.
That's what they were stealing.
They were.
They were stealing a thrill. So then there was Stephen Luke. This person was allegedly being coerced to find a way to ruin the career of a Department of Defense official. Found dead in the trunk of his car, which seems like it would be tough to do, to stuff yourself into your own trunk.
And then...
But it's got a handle inside always, right?
Yeah.
It's got a kill yourself handle.
Yeah.
In the trunk, as we know.
Yes.
It's only the Chevys, but yeah.
I thought that's how you got out. No?
Yeah.
Just kill yourself on accident.
I do have a secret door to open my trunk in case I get locked in my own trunk.
Do you?
I don't.
You don't have a
They
trunk.
come with rope and gags and everything.
Yeah, I know. It's really more of a closet.
It's the kidnap package. It's a little extra.
And you'll notice my trunk is a little bit worn.
Oh.
Then there was Dr. You remember this? Lin Wen Liang, who blew the whistle on COVID, then died of COVID immediately.
Oh, come on.
Oh.
They injected him with it?
Convenient.
You sure?
I'm not sure.
Well,
no one's actually sure. We have to be very, very
put him in a
careful.
room with people coughing and said, "Let nature take its course."
So I wish we had more information on this Barnett guy, but
yeah, like did he didn't live in Charleston, right?
no, he's giving interviews.
He's giving the interviews, and he had a gun with him. So he traveled with a gun. Was it his gun? Was it registered? Where did he get a gun in Charleston?
You're asking good questions.
These are good questions.
They are.
I don't know. I'm not a detective.
Okay, Jesse Ventura.
I'm just asking questions.
Hey.
What happened? What happened down there at Tower 7? Yeah, tough guy. Thanks for serving your country. I bet you know you're an aerospace engineer now. Okay, tough guy.
Yeah, he made the gun.
That's
He
right.
made it. Yeah.
He's a
Oh,
big
sure.
3D
He
printing
manufactured
fan.
Like John
He was just doing
Malkovich.
QA on the gun. He was like, "Does it work?
Yeah.
It works. Look at that."
Yeah.
I should have tested it in another fashion.
Well, he double tapped himself in the back of the head too, which was, I mean, that takes
skill.
Well,
It
that's
does.
a good trigger discipline. That's quick.
Yeah.
Bang, that's really.
That's right.
Watch Slider with Crowder live Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.